Hot Rod TV. Make way for a Mopar monster as we build a 500 cubic inch, 600 horsepower big block. We'll take you to West Palm Beach for the kickoff of Hot Rod's bigger, better, and badder streetcar racing series. Plus, show you the latest from the high-performance aftermarket. So hang on for Hot Rod TV. Hey, welcome to the Hot Rod Shop. You know, we'll be the first to admit it. You Mopar guys have been ignored way too long. Well, today we're going to change all that by jumping into an engine buildup that'll satisfy even the staunchest Mopar maven.
You bet. Now, how does a 500 cubic inch big block hit you, one that cranks out 600 horsepower and 600 foot-pounds of torque? Now, the best part is it does it all on pump gas, so you can drive it to the strip, lay down those big numbers, then take it to the streets the very same night.
I like that. The best part is it's affordable and built with off-the-shelf parts.
Now, we're going to lay the foundation for this build-up with this mega block from Mopar Performance. The bottom end is bolstered with these cross-bolted mains and these extra beefy bulkheads. Now, up on top here, well, we've got Siamese bores and an extra thick deck for added strength.
Now, the arms of Mopar Piece 2 made from 1053 steel with a 4-150 stroke. Of course, it's been balanced with pulley radius fillets. Now, the rest of the rotating assembly consists of these Manley Sportsmaster rods hanging a set of Wiseco forged pistons.
The heads are key to hitting our horsepower numbers, so we're using a set of these aluminum SR pieces from Indy Cylinder Head. Now, they also did all the machine work on this monster big block kit using the latest CNC equipment.
That equipment whittles an extra 40 pounds of iron off the block, and of course, you know what that means. Better transfer of weight, much lower ET.
Good point. Now, before we lay in that crank, we're going to go ahead and lube up the main and cam bearings because we can get to them a whole lot easier. Hey, now, here's a little tip that'll help keep that rear main from leaking. First of all, you want to make sure that you use a new retainer like this one from Mopar Performance. Make sure you glue down these side seals. Also, add a little bit of stagger to the crank seal here, and finally, put a little bit of silicone right here on the mating surface and down the side. And you just slide that thing home.
These flat-top forgings here will give us 10-to-1 compression ratio. These anti-detonation grooves, well, they help disperse raw fuel, real important for the street. Now, the rods are 4340 steel, shot-peened and polished with a small diameter floating pin and ARP 7/16 wave lock bolts. Torque spec on these rod bolts is 80 foot-pounds.
Now, the camshaft is next, and it's a special solid lifter design that's been ground by Comp Cams to Indy specs. Now, I'm going to show you a little tip that's going to turn a messy job into an easy one. Insert the cam backwards into the first journal. You just apply the lube. Then you just pull it out, turn it around, and slide it into place.
Next, we install a Speed Pro timing set with Comp Cam roller button, then the timing cover, and with some NICs on the hub, we install a Vibratech fluid damper. We'll bolt up our IndyMax oil pump next. Our increased stroke won't allow an internal pickup, so this new system moves the pickup line to the outside.
Now, that new pickup is housed in the bottom of this aluminum oil pan here from Charlie's Oil Pans in Norton, Ohio. Now, over-tightening is a real common problem when you're installing that oil pump there. Don't let those 3/8 bolts fool you. They only take 25 foot-pounds. What you want to do is take a priming rod like this one and spin that pump over while you're torquing it down. Make sure it doesn't bind up.
Good advice. Well, that about does it for the short block, but stay with us. We'll be back to attack the top end and take you to the races right after this. Yes, it's the new quarter-mile version of Hot Rod's Streetcar Series. We'll take you to West Palm Beach, coming right up.
Hey, John, when are you going to get rid of that old fire suit?
You'll never clean up that old truck driver. He would have worn that outfit on the Tonight Show if they'd let him. He'll probably be buried in that old dirty thing.
Hey, guys, don't you agree on anything?
We all agree free on Mr. Gasket Performance Parts. Hey, boys, just check out this old truck driver. Here, John, do we have to dress you, too?
Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. Even at 475 degrees, nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
If you added up all the hours you've spent rebuilding small blocks and boosting horsepower, you would have graduated from UTI by now. And you'd be getting paid for doing what you love. Call 1-800-884-4262 to find out how we can make you one of the best technicians in the world. Universal Technical Institute.
You know, I was into all that extreme stuff when I was your age. Just didn't have a fancy name for it. Because I never had a Subaru Outback Sport either.
Too bad, Uncle. This beauty's got a ton of cargo space. Full-time all-wheel drive, more horsepower than a RAV4. You never did that, I'll bet.
Sure we did. But what's the rope for?
Outback Sport, part of the Outback family from Subaru.
Hot Rod TV is brought to you by the Mr. Gasket Company, America's leading supplier of performance parts. And by Husky, the toughest name in tools. Available only at the Home Depot.
Hey, welcome back to our 600 horsepower Mopar monster buildup. Well, it looks like Chuck's got a head start with the lifters here. I guess this valley plate's next.
I'm ready for it.
All right, man. Then come the head gaskets, but I tell you what, Chuck's getting ready to do some slicing and dicing on some heads to show you what it takes to turn a Mopar into a heavy breather. And while he's at it, why don't you and I head to the season debut of Hot Rod's Power Fest and Fastest Streetcar Series.
I'm feeling good. 57's feeling good. So let's race.
Welcome to sunny West Palm Beach, Florida, where the Fastest Streetcar Series is rapidly living up to its new name. Now sanctioned by the NMCA, it's the first of Hot Rod Magazine's bigger, better, and badder extended year of good old grassroots racing. This Power Festival not only kicks off a big new season with a new name and new classes, but there's twice the excitement. They've gone from 8th to quarter mile.
Well, we ran quarter mile. You know, we were the NMCA champion who was bought out by Hot Rod. So we've got a pretty good handle on the quarter mile, but we've done an R&D program on our engines, and we're pretty happy with it. We got a lot more power than we had last year.
We break a little more parts in a quarter mile, but the fans like it better, so we just make the car ready for it and do what we got to do.
I like the quarter mile race. That's what drag racing's about.
Of course, it's all about money, too. This year, there's more than $1 million to be paid out, in addition to the Mr. Gasket Points Fund, which has doubled to $200,000.
It's a great grassroots type of racing series, and it's our customer base, so we're real proud to be associated with it. It's a type of sport that increases in cost, and it gets more competitive, and they really need the extra money to get down the track.
Several veterans of the series are going the distance in new cars. Steve Carrier's got a new Monte Carlo, as does former pro streeter Ross Stump. This one's all loaded up for the new Outlaw Street class.
The big difference between Pro Street and Outlaw is an Outlaw is 3,000 pounds, period. No matter what cubic inch motor you have, you can run blown alcohol, you can run a nitrous motor, naturally aspirated. It doesn't matter. You can run anything you want. There's no cubic inch limit. The whole key is getting horsepower on the ground with the DOT-approved tires.
Last year's Pro Street champ Tony Christian has a new Firebird that wasn't ready for the race, but he brought his old famous Bel Air instead. And he was back to his old outspoken self after his dramatic personal victory over life-threatening illness.
Hey, I'm coming out here. I'm going to let them all kick my butts one time. Let everybody have fun. They're going to beat an old man that just had cancer. Okay? So let them all have a ball for themselves.
Don't let him fool you. The Bel Air's got the aerodynamics of a tank, but there's experience and power in that package. Now, while Chevys dominate at Power Fest, there's lots of Mustang muscle and even a Pro Street Caddy. Hey, look out there, big guy. There's a respectable showing of Mopars, and thanks to Joe Culber's car, he boldly calls bodacious even a T-Bird running Pro Street.
People really do like to see the Fords, even the Chevrolet people come by and like it because it's something different, and that's what the people want to see.
Hey, let's not forget the Iron Indians, too. Everybody's talking about the new kid in the pits, retired Silicon Valley entrepreneur Bob Rieger. He's got a new 1,600 horsepower, naturally aspirated Pro Street Firebird, and it's his first ever real competition.
It just kind of grabbed me. Good people, good racing, and it looked like a lot of fun. So we just hopped in, got a car, and got a motor, and come on out. It was looks like it worked out.
Yeah, looks like a Pro Street star's in the making. While Christian was top qualifier with a 7.261, Rieger was right behind him, setting up what was to be a showdown between the rookie racer and the seasoned vet in Sunday's fantastic final. We'll take you back to Barroso for the finals in a minute, but meanwhile, Chuck, looks like you worn out a set of Ginsu knives on those heads. What you got?
You know, that's right. They said you couldn't wear those things out, but I tell you what, I've cut apart a stock head and an any cylinder head here to show you why we've chosen them to feed this 500-incher. Now, the biggest shortcoming of this stock head is the length of the valve, which restricts the port size and the shape. Now, even the best porting can't change this dimension right here, and I got to tell you, it's a real bottleneck. And now the Indy head uses a valve that's a full ½ inch longer. Now, that allows us to raise the port roof by 3/8 of an inch and eliminate that bottleneck. Now, the incoming fuel charge can use the entire valve.
Well, that's pretty impressive, but just how much difference is that?
Well, the Indy head flows about 350 CFM, and, well, that's 100 CFM more than stock. Now, that means about 100 more horsepower, too.
Man, I'm even more fired up to finish this project. We'll do just that right after this. Next, we'll button up our Mopar Big Block and take you with us to the dyno for our Monsters Moment of Truth. Stay with us.
Call now for your free Summit catalog with killer prices on thousands of the world's best performance parts. If you need it, Summit's got it at the right price. Go fast and save. Call 1-800-433-4589.
Husky, the toughest name in tools. Guaranteed forever. Available at the Home Depot.
Take it from a professional detailer. Mother's California Gold Cleaner Wax is the best way to polish and protect your car in one simple step. Mild cleaners safely remove oxidation and other dulling contaminants while leaving behind a deep, long-lasting Carnauba wax shine. Mother's California Gold Carnauba Cleaner Wax is safe for all types of paint, including clear coats and new car finishes. So for all your one-step polish and protection needs, get Mother's California Gold Cleaner Wax. You'll be glad you did.
Looking for more horsepower? How about a turbo? You could install an exhaust system. A chip's always good. Ever think about simply changing your air filter? To a K&N. K&N delivers more horsepower for your dollar. Up to 20 more horses for a fraction of the cost. That's because K&N filters blow over 50% more air than ordinary filters. More air means more power, and they're backed by a 10-year, 1,000,000-mile warranty. Call for a free brochure on the K&N retailer nearest you. K&N filters, more horsepower for your dollar.
Today, TNN Motorsports takes you inside the tracks, the teams. It's the source for all your NASCAR news. Join host Ned Jarrett as he showcases who's making it and what it takes to get there. No one covers it better. Inside NASCAR. Today, 5 Eastern, 4 Central, on the leader in motorsports coverage, TNN Motorsports.
We've got your pit pass.
Hot Rod TV is brought to you by Wyoming Tech, training tomorrow's technicians today. By Dunlop Tires, handle it with Dunlop Tires. And by the Eastwood Company, unique automotive tools and supplies.
Hi, welcome back to the shop. and our Mopar street strip engine buildup. Now, while you were gone, we went ahead and bolted on these Indy heads and our Mopar Performance water pump. And since it's made of aluminum, well, it's going to take another 20 pounds off the front end.
The top end is the last thing to get oil when you fire your engine up, so what you want to do is take a little bit of this moly paste and put a dab right down there in the socket of the push rod, and that way they won't gall up on you. Now, unlike the stock rocker system, this one from Indy Cylinder Head is adjustable so we can lash our valves. Now, these roller tip rockers here are aluminum, and they ride on a chrome moly shaft.
Stock rockers are normally oiled through a passage that runs between the intake ports. Now, with these Indy heads, well, that passage is eliminated since they've given us these extra large ports. What they've got here is a kit that actually oils the rocker shafts through the back of the heads here. Now, this T connection, well, that's for your pressure gauge.
All right. Now, we're ready to run the valves, and here's a little valve train tuning tip for you guys that are running a solid lifter cam like we are. Now, we're going to lash our valves at 22 thousandths, but if you want a little more bottom end, well, you just open them up a couple of thou, and if you want a little more top end, well, just tighten them down a tad.
We're going to spark this torque monster to life with this MSD Pro Billet distributor, along with a set of Axcel's 300-plus race wires and plugs.
With a 500-inch stroker, intake selection is crucial. Now, this dual plane from Indy is going to give us great throttle response, plus it's got more volume than a lot of single-plane race-style manifolds. We're going to top ours off with a Holley 950 HP carb.
Yeah, this is a vacuum secondary carb, so it's perfect for street and strip use. Like all HP carbs, there's no choke horn. The Venturis have been smooth and radius at the factory. Plus, it's got a 4-corner idle circuit.
Well, that about does it. Now, the only question left is, can we hit our horsepower numbers?
Well, the only way to find out is to take this thing and head to the dyno. Sounds good, Kenny. We're using Indy Cylinder Head's dyno for this big test, and as soon as Chuck sets the timing, we'll be ready for a run.
All right, we got 32 degrees of timing and a tank full of pump gas. What do you say we make this monster grunt?
Well, we got the numbers here.
Whoa. Now, it looks like we lied to you. I know that we promised you 600 horsepower here out of this thing, but, well, Joe, why don't you give them the news?
All right. How about 672 horsepower? Almost 640 foot-pounds of torque.
You bet. Now, that's why they call them Mopars.
Man, we built a bigger monster than we imagined.
You bet. Now, don't you go away. We're going to meet you back at the hot rod shop right after this.
Yeah, it's great. Look at that.
Sometimes your day is filled with twists and turns. Handle it. Dunlop Tires.
Synthetic motor oil. Even at 35 degrees below zero, nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
Home Depot is very serious about paint. We want to be your paint store.
We are a real paint store.
You go to paint, you can get everything. You can get the rollers, you can get your paint.
You're going to need drop cloths, we've got that. You're going to need ladders, we've got ladders.
Actually, we've caught paint stores shopping at Home Depot before. Because you can get more than just quality paint. You can get your paint, you can get all your supplies.
We can custom fit anything. I mean, you could bring in your shirt and we could match your shirt.
We have the products and the product knowledge that the paint stores have, if not more of it.
Experience Country.com, your personal source for all things country, from race cars to country stars. Connect to Country.com.
Hot Rod TV is brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment, your source for high-performance parts for 30 years. And by the Home Depot, your exclusive source for Husky tools.
Hi, welcome back. Well, now it's time to return to West Palm Beach to see who will be the big winners in quarter-mile competition. But before they get started, what do you say we check out what's hot beyond the track at the Hot Rod Power Fest? There's a festive atmosphere at these hot rod events, from the show car concourse onto the bigger-than-ever midway, where drag racing dreams are shared by visitors of all ages. Here on the Rosa Midway, there's everything to build a racing rod, from Federal Mogul pistons to Speed Pro camshafts, even Carter AFB Competition Series carbs. Now there's a start. And since you got to have mufflers in this series, one of these Flowmaster scavengers ought to do the job. But, you know, right now we need a car. Right place, wrong car. I know Mopar makes all kinds of racing components, but we're here to drag race, folks, so let's go back to the track. Top qualifier Tony Christian was no longer talking humbly about his chances behind the wheel of the old Bel Air. He was talking victory.
Musi has a chance of beating me, but if it comes down to consistency, I should win it. Bar no braking, bar no brain failure, I should win it.
But his old rival Pat had more than his share of troubles the preceding day.
They had oil on the track. They didn't clean it right. We couldn't get off the starting line. When we came back for the final round, the qualifying, a wire had shook loose for the first stage of nitrous, so the nitrous didn't come on. When it didn't come on, it retarded the timing, and that's what you saw, the little backfire.
Musi got his act back together up until the third round of eliminations. That's when he had more engine trouble, while newcomer Rieger was nailing a 7.134 at 194 miles an hour. The champ, who had a third round bye, was destined to face a hot, new, surprise challenger.
Didn't expect to get this far. We've been very fortunate. The cars are doing really good, and Sonny builds a damn good motor, and Jerry Bickle builds about the best race car there is. And you put all that stuff together, it doesn't leave me much to do except for let go of the button. And I've been doing that, and everything's been working really good. Deep down inside, every boy wants to win, and I darn sure want to win, but I didn't expect to get this far.
While the burnout contest satisfied the crowd's hunger for boiled bolognas, the only thing that could satisfy their appetite for speed would be the finals, the fastest streetcar racing. The real street victor was James Phipps, who was top qualifier in his class, winning the new Easy Street class, Bobby Josie in another Camaro. Hot Street belonged to Tim Davis in a 91 Dodge, and Super Streeter Spiro Pappas made a super comeback to take the win in his class. And here we go, Pro Street. Decades of experience, a proven power package, and 2 stages of nitrous versus a rookie, the naturally aspirated black beast that has a solid shot at winning. But oh no, Rieger barely breaks a light, and Christian gets to cruise home with an easy one.
Hey, everybody's telling me, says, watch your reaction time. I says, I'm not fast enough to break a light. And sure enough, man, it was like a 320. I guess that adrenaline really works. You really got to watch that stuff when the sun goes down.
They came out. I mean, that guy's going to be a good racer, a good driver. I mean, I'm just impressed the way everybody ran. It was a good weekend.
Every time you turn a page of Hot Rod, you'll feel the rumble of 400 horses at your feet. You'll smell the nitro burning. You'll see some of the sweetest rods ever and experience the power of the best articles ever written. Call this 800 number right now and we'll send you a free issue. A free issue when you subscribe to 1 year of the hottest, most exciting hot rod magazine anywhere. You'll find everything there is to know about hot rodding. Call right now and order 1 year of Hot Rod and reserve your free issue. Then strap yourself in for the ride of your life. Hot Rod. Call now.
When I'm out on the bay, I'm in my element. That's what I live for.
It's kind of like this flame inside of you. It just doesn't quit.
The environment treats everybody the same way. And if you're not prepared for it, it can be miserable. If you get cold, wet,
feet. It's time to go home. Get the hell out of there.
Amen, bro.
You have to have the equipment to match the environment.
Wolverine DuraShocks, the world's most comfortable boots, guaranteed.
I'm wearing Wolverine boots.
Wolverine, boots and shoes since 1883.
Hi, Bob Vila here with an exciting new hand tool from Sears. The Craftsman Pocket Socket Adjustable Box End Wrench. With a one-hand adjustment, you can lock onto nuts and bolts of almost any size, from 5/16 to 3/4 of an inch, or 8 to 18 millimeters. The closed box end clamps tight. Heat-treated steel construction makes it durable. And because it's a Craftsman hand tool, made in America, it's guaranteed forever.
To order your Craftsman Pocket Socket, call 1-800-338-4242 now.
And now, Hot Rod's Hot Parts, brought to you by Restore. Don't be fooled by imitators. Original Engine Restorer brings back lost compression and power. It is America's ultimate engine restorer.
Hey, we're all for making life easier. After all, this hobby should be fun and not a lot of hard work, right? Now, that's why we like this engine test stand here from Automotive Innovations. Now, it's adjustable, so it'll accept just about any engine, and it's fully self-contained. Just wire it up, add fuel, and fire it up. Now, of course, this thing's got casters on all four corners, so it's completely mobile, and it's got a full brace of autometer gauges. Now, you can start your engine, lash the valves, check the carburetor and timing, and even check for leaks before you bolt it between the fenders. Now, this thing's going to save you a lot of time, energy, and aggravation, and all you've got to do is save up about $2,500.
You can also save yourself from the same old grind with this cool tool from Campbell Hausfield. It's a die grinder that'll make quick work out of your toughest jobs. Whether it's grinding or cutting metal or even stripping paint, there's an attachment that'll fit the collet of this handy tool. Of course, it's air operated like the rest of our CH tools for cool running and long life. You can cut yourself some slack and put one of these in your toolbox for under 30 bucks.
Yeah, now here's a new way to use that die grinder there to help solve an old problem. It's a gasket removal kit from Mr. Gasket. It comes with its own plastic storage case that contains a heavy-duty scraper, an assortment of discs, and a flexible holder pad. You just attach the pad like this, and even the most stubborn gaskets are history. Speaking of history, you're going to have to say so long to one of those Andy Jacksons in your wallet, but you ought to get some change back.
Time for us to say so long, but not before a look at next week's Hot Rod TV. We'll upgrade the suspension and stopping of a late model Mustang. We'll offer some carb tech for improved feeding of a high-performance engine and install a high-tech clutch on a Hot Rod El Camino. Remember, high-performance fun is what this show is all about. Let's take a spin in this Coronet. What do you think?
Man, I'll tell you what, I don't know if I can be seen in a Mopar or not.
Well, I'll drive. What about
I love
that?
these things, but my Chevelle buddies would sure make fun of me.
Hey, let's go by and pass their house.
No, you got to promise me you're going to stay on the back roads now.
You know, this reminds me of a car my granny had.
Oh, so she's the little old lady from Pasadena.
No, I think it was Cooter, Missouri.
Oh, man, that thing sounds good, doesn't it?
It sounds great.
All right, let her see it.
Hot Rod TV is an RTM production.